That's just a 2-minute countdown. Do you like the effect, by the way, the recording there? Well, I had to work Margot Robbie into the thumb somehow. Margot Robbie wearing a t-shirt. Hey everybody, Dragon Movie Guy here. Thank you for joining me here on the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. This is a very special edition of movie news you can use. We are talking about the ongoing WGA strike, the Writers Guild of America strike, the writers' strike, however many different ways you want to put it. The writers in Hollywood have been on strike since May 2nd, and we are nearing the point where on October 3rd of this year, if the strike is still going on October 3rd, it will be the longest writer's strike in history. So I thought it would be a great time to look at where the writer's strike is, see some of the effects that the writer's strike is having on our entertainment, and just sort of look at where the writer's strike is at now, 4 months into the WGA strike. Before we get to that, though, I want to bring up a thing here. I wanted to thank the viewers, the subscribers, and I want to start this as a regular thing because the whole point of me talking to the void on YouTube isn't just me hearing myself and hearing my voice. It's hearing your voice and having that conversation with you guys, the viewers. So I want to start doing this thing as a regular segment where I thank people that have viewed my channel, who are subscribed to my channel, and who are supporting Dragon Movie Guy in any way, shape, or form. And starting with the real easiest way to do that I can think of is those who have subscribed to my channel. Now, this isn't everybody who has subscribed, but if you have the subscribe notification on your YouTube channel active, then I get a notification when you subscribe to Dragon Movie Guy. So obviously, not everyone who subscribes do I get an email that says they've done it, but those that have, I do get an email, so I want to take the chance to thank you for subscribing to my channel. First of who is Echo Cero, and another is Night Owl Movie Talk. Both Echo Cero and Night Owl Movie Talk subscribe to me through Zack Attack Reviews, so had Zack Attack Reviews on a week or two ago, and they both came over and subscribed, so thank you to both of you. And my other is Pugwall316 subscribed to me a week ago, so wanted to welcome Pugwall316 to the broadcast as well. And the last one, I wanted to thank Colleen Glanville. She is probably my most active subscriber in the comments section. Colleen and I have great conversations in the comments section of both my posts on the community tab and in the videos. So great conversations, and please, thank you to Colleen Glanville. And while we're saying talking about subscribers, please be sure to subscribe and click the notification bell and all that there. Plus, I wanted to say we have a new new live chat thing that I'm trying. There's a thing called Social Stream Ninja Chat. So you see the chat section up on the screen now, and if I click on a thing, then you can see my comment there, my comment in the live chat, and if I click on this, then you can see Andy Spark talking about Writer's Deal should have been done first, and so hopefully this will be a great way to interact and be more interactive with you guys, the fans, you guys, the viewers, because that's honestly what this is all about. It's all about me building an audience and having a connection with people, talking about movies, talking about entertainment and TV and all that kind of stuff. So this is all for you guys, and hopefully as I go along here and do these live streams, I get a little bit better each time, and this, I hope, will be a good way to connect more with you guys during these live streams, because that's what half the fun is all about. So, with that, I will bring on my guest. My guest is a friend of the channel. He has had me on his channel many times. He's come on my channel many times. He is the first guest that I had on Dragon Movie Guy that has an actual IMDb page. So jealous. Yeah. So please welcome on to the channel, Rob Kristjansson, aka Rob from Jim and Rob Over Analyze Movies. Rob, thank you for coming on and talking about the WGA strike. What do you think of the new bells and whistles so far?
Love it. Love it. Love the fact that, I mean, especially you and I as creators at a certain tier, we learn from each other. We push each other. I know I've picked up a few things from you. I love the bells and whistles you've added that I'm like, hey, I think I even told them how to do that. Or if I didn't, I thought about it in my mind.
Yeah.
I was thinking I should tell them how to do it. No, I love it, man. Like, I mean, I as our production values rise, this is all about providing an engaging time to our audience, and it can't be all bells and whistles, but yeah, I think they help, and I'm liking what you're doing, dude.
And with that comes the live chat screen of interaction, as I've, yet to come up with a better non-ominous label for it. But, we can see the live chat as a whole, all 2 comments that are already there, and then I can pull up. It's covering your face a little bit there. But, from Andy Spark.
Andy Spark!
Yes. So
I am, I'm not only a resident commie,
I
come with my own sound effects.
You do. With full sound effects and audio gizmos galore. So, so before we get started, what do you have working on? What do you have working up on Jim and Rob Over Analyze Movies? What's going on your channel?
Well, we've got our next couple of shows. I know this Monday, Jim and I are going to be doing a deep dive into Guy Ritchie's The Covenant, which has actually came out last winter, spring. Of course, it's been on Amazon Prime, but we're going to do that now. We've had other films wanted to look at. We're really jazzed, although, I mean, it's a small little Canadian indie. We did that last weekend. Or last Monday, this I Like Movies. I think anyone who likes movies, especially if you really like them, you should check this flick out. It is a kind of a coming of age story set in early aughts Canada. suburbs, anyone in a North American suburb, I'll recognize this kid's life as he gets his dream job in a video store, in an old school VHS like video store. So really, I love that. And then, of course, next week, hopefully, we'll be watching in the theater to answer a question on your social media. Shailene Woodley in another comedy, the Dumb Money, which I'm looking forward to because I'm like, yeah, it's that. Sorry, man, but that is right up my alley.
Well, and for those of us that love the movie Big Short, I think it rings the same bells as that one, and that
with
the Big Short
got a bit more of a comedy.
Yeah, but that's
a little more.
That the Big Short was one that eventually ended up getting nominated for a couple of Oscars while being done by comedy people, and the other thing is too if you I think the story behind Dumb Money is such an interesting one. Anyone who gets the chance, watch the documentary Diamond Hands, which is Diamond Hands. It's like if you hold a lump of coal hard enough, the coal will turn into a diamond. Is sort of the reference, but it talks about online culture and Reddit, and the guy that Paul Dano is playing is an actual guy on Reddit who was known as Roaring Kitty, who kicked off the whole GameStop thing. So, there's a couple. The Diamond Hands documentary is really well done. There's another one that's on Netflix. It's about the same thing, different characters, but still about the GameStop. But before that movie comes out, or I think it's actually out this weekend, but definitely worth watching both of those. So, yes, absolutely.
I'm getting jazzed, man.
Yeah, so excited for Dumb Money. Just all the actors that we all love, all in the same flick. But today we are here to talk about the writers' strike.
We're not talking about movie.
Yeah, we're talking about the writing of the movies that we all love, and it's sort of an update on we're 4 months into the writers' strike now, and I think we could have predicted that. This was going to be one that was going to last a while, but we're now 4 months in. We're now a couple of weeks shy of the all-time record, which will be October 3rd, if my math is correct. But, my math is, I was a humanities major. I wasn't a math major, so it's always good to double-check the math. May 2nd to whenever, 153 days after 54 for the record.
It's coming up.
Yeah.
We're in that ballpark.
Yes. So let's jump into the meat and potatoes of the writers' strike here. We're 4 months in now, and Variety is reporting that WGA talks may resume this upcoming week, and that is at the request of the Writers Union. The WGA, the Writers Guild of America, has reached out to the A.M.P.T.P, the producers, the acronym, I cannot remember all 5 letters, but it is the A.M.P.T.P. And basically, they're at the point now where it's been 4 months. We're getting to the fall. We're getting to the fall television season. We're getting into, it's been a while. The all of Hollywood's been on a labor stoppage for a while now, and it's starting to affect things. It's starting to affect people's pocketbooks. So it's time for at least for the union to reach out to management and see where we can go from here with the negotiations. On Wednesday, September 13th, the WGA reached out to the A.M.P.T.P. And see if they could.
According to the A.M.P.T.P.
Yeah. So right now it's them reaching out to see if they can get into a meeting. So we're not anywhere close to a deal being done. But considering they haven't been talking for the entire month, for about 3-4 weeks now, talks broke down. They haven't been talking. So they're talking about talking. They're talking about getting in a room and actually talking with each other. So hopefully this is progress.
It's like nuclear arms reduction treaties.
Yeah.
Meet to discuss a potential agenda about what a potential agenda might look like.
Yeah. Now, we've been kind of following this from afar. You see different social media posts on Instagram and Twitter or whatever Twitter's X, whatever it's being called now. Social media, we're seeing some comments. Yeah, we're seeing some comments from people negotiating. Do you think the progress is being made, that we're getting closer to a deal? Have you seen anything that makes you optimistic in that category?
You know what, Brian? Well, let me preface my comments. First of all, thanks for having me back. It's always fun. And it's always fun to be a guest. Like there's times when it's just like, yeah, I've got opinions that I'm willing to share, and he's going to do all the other work. Can't wait. But that's a great question. And I'm going to answer it with, honestly, who the knows? Honestly, like it could be that they are that close, that one side or both sides are, close to like, okay, we gotta move on with our lives. Certainly we have seen some public pressure on the WGA and even SAG-AFTRA, but it's almost always unnamed showrunner, you know. And yeah, there was a great piece, if I can remember. You know what? I will send a link to you if you want to put it in your show notes or something. But there's a great piece about how it's the whole strike is shown how dependent the Variety, Hollywood Reporter, Deadline, how dependent they are on their studio relationships, because they would put something out that obviously came from the A.M.P.T.P, and how quickly the WGA or SAG-AFTRA could react to it and go, what are you talking about? That never happened. This is how we know it never happened. Like, so that's why I'm like, maybe the WGA reached out to the A.M.P.T.P and said, hey, let's get together, but maybe they didn't. Maybe it's like, I'm sure there's phone calls still happening. You want to have some way of maintaining, hey, how's it going? But it could, who knows? Well, I think we'll have to wait and see if the meeting actually happens and what people are saying after that meeting. Yeah, I'm sorry, man. I would love to give you a better answer, but I don't. Yeah, right now we don't know. It's the A.M.P.T.P saying one thing, the WGA potentially saying, hey, we're talking about having a meeting.
Well,
and scene.
Yeah, well, just the way you put it there, that it makes me think of keeping the phone lines open even if no one's talking. It kind of sort of sounds like the red phone in the Oval Office between the U.S. and Russia, where they have the red phone that's always on no matter what, like in the middle of the nuclear, it's it's.
Or even even at the end of World War II, there was kind of really rough, loosey-goosey ways of sending messages through so-called neutral third parties, right? Yeah. A lot of it depends on how, you know what? There has been some emotion coming out lately, but you don't really hear any, the employer's doing what employers do. Yeah. You're not being told the truth about what we said. But you're not seeing that, 50 writers signing an open letter, like 50 senior writers signing an open letter to the union going, what are you doing? You're not seeing that. You're not seeing that from actors. Mostly what you see is, again, unnamed showrunners, and then almost always a response from a bunch of working stiffs going, I know exactly why I'm here on strike. And you know what? I barely made enough to get my health care last year, so I already have 3 other jobs. I'll just keep doing them until we get the deal we want. It's I don't think we've seen enough to go one side or another is going to crack.
Yeah, I think it's too hard to tell still, because And it's funny you mentioned too, like actors not being able to act right now, because a friend of mine, Fish of the Fat Fish podcast, had me on as a guest, and Fish's co-host is an actor by the name of Brad Grunberg, who has been in 120 different credits, I believe he has. He's the brother of Greg Grunberg, and who was on Felicity and Star Wars and in Star Trek. And anyway, so Brad right now is he's not Ubering, he's lifting. So, when here's a guy who is a working actor, 120 credits to his name, and he is, he's got a side hustle right now, even though he's a working actor of the last 20, 30 years. So, the fact that no one's really, writers and actors right now are not getting paid, so, at least not through their chosen careers. So, hopefully this thing will be done soon, and we can get back to, covering the more traditional stories rather than the work stoppages kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And sort of along those same lines, sort of interesting is from the political realm is the fact that Bill Maher is resuming his show, and Bill Maher is he's real time with Bill Maher. It's he used to do Politically Correct. It's a political show all the way up and down, and Bill Maher is going back either this week or next week without writers, which is weird considering how well written out and well produced his show is in general. He's definitely not the guy that just goes out and talks to the crowd and interviews a celebrity. He does political talks. He does comedic bits. So the fact that he is the first,
much like Churchill, his best off-the-cuff comments were written well in advance.
Yeah, and so the fact that he is the first of the latest crop of late-night talk show hosts to go back to live shows or go back to actively producing shows without the writers this time around is sort of an interesting thing. So Hollywood Reporter comes out and is asking the question. That's actually the wrong. Anyway,
figure deadline.
Yeah,
what you're looking for.
Yeah, so that so in this case, it's Bill Maher goes back and it basically asks the question: will all of the other shows go back sometime soon? I still remember back to the 2008 writer's strike when the Daily Show went back with Jon Stewart went back, the Colbert Report went back without writers, and there were even times when Conan O'Brien was still hosting Late Night with Conan O'Brien, where they actually did a comedic bit where they played it like all three of their studios shared a back staircase. So they literally, all three of the guys appeared on each other's shows, just smoking a cigarette in the fire escape. So it's sort of interesting to see what, from a hosting perspective, how talented these late night hosts are, and to be able to do that without. But
you could almost say it's borderline their ability to and their tradition in live sketch comedy and improv. It's almost like they're just writing on the fly.
Yeah, and because of that, it was a fascinating exercise in how talented you actually have to be a late night talk show host in the first place. Oh. So it'll be interesting to see what. Yeah,
this stuff is hard, and they are talented and experienced, like a depth of experience going back decades. And even they are like, no, I need a room of talented people to really be on top of it.
Especially if you're doing it 4 or 5 nights per week.
Oh, yeah.
Back to back. So, it'll be interesting to see. And as a result of that, I think part of this, too, is we've now gone an entire summer movie season without having late-night talk shows for celebrities to go on to pitch their movies. Yeah. So I think part of that, too, is sort of the whole thing of keeping the pump primed a little bit. We're not getting the viewership, or not making sure that viewers don't get used to not watching late-night TV, because none of this is required. None of this is is an absolute. You have to watch the Tonight Show, and quite honestly,
viewers' habits.
Yeah, and as someone I have been a watcher of late night with Conan O'Brien, late night with going all the way back to Letterman. I've been a late night talk show.
Yep.
That is part of my staple viewing habit. And I realized a week or two ago that, I haven't watched a single new late night talk show, including Saturday Night Live, in months. And I honestly, I haven't really missed it. So
are you saying
yeah.
Are you saying your life hasn't changed? Are you saying it's as it's in this? Dear God.
Yeah.
Parched for late night humor.
So I think I think in some ways it is good to.
Dear Lord, why have you forsaken me?
Yeah. So I think in some ways it's not good that the writer's strike is still going on and that a deal hasn't been done. I think it is good to make sure that the lights stay on and that people, viewerships don't completely dissipate on the writers because they got to have a job to go back to when the deal finally does get done. Along those lines is what I was actually intending to show. Second up is, it's sort of interesting. The three of the five major late night TV hosts are banding together next week here in Las Vegas. They're going to be doing a benefit for all of their staffs that have been out of work since the May work stoppage. And this is going to be a late night, a one-off Strike Force live show in Las Vegas. We're getting
Strike Force 5.
Yes, we're getting Stephen Colbert, we're getting Jimmy Fallon, we're getting Jimmy Kimmel, all in the same place at the same time. Jimmy Kimmel is from Las Vegas, so that's, I think, probably part of the reason why they're coming together here. So September 23rd at the Park MGM, which is right next to the casino, right next to where the Golden Knights play, which is right next to New York. So they are having a one-night-only benefit, raise money for all of their writers, camera people, people that have been out of work that are on their staffs that have no money coming in. So, that's it. And honestly, if you really think back to, can you imagine 20 years ago if there was a work stoppage and the idea of David Letterman and Jay Leno actually coming together on the same stage? Late night wars aside, I think it's, these guys are comedians. They're highly competitive. So to see them going on to the same stage and showing a little bit of solidarity, it's PR, of course, PR, but to actually have a thing there where they can make some money or get some money for their staffs, even though they're not working.
The only one I think is really capital P, capital R, PR, 100% is Jimmy Fallon. Because as we've learned, not a great place to work. Whereas the others, and apparently money will also go to while Seth Meyer and John Oliver will not be there, their staffs will be participating in whatever. It's part of Strike Force 5, because I guess they've been doing a podcast since the podcast I've been unaware of. But I do think it's interesting, Brian, that Jimmy Fallon, I think, is the one who needs any good PR showing that he may actually care about his staff, because right now he's looking like any other how can I put this, any other asshole, big money, I'm at the top, dance for me peasants kind of guy.
Yeah,
I really thought we were a fun environment.
Yeah, and that's a tough one, because Jimmy Fallon's been, he's been at 30 Rock for 20 plus years now, with his time on SNL before this.
Yeah.
And, he has that reputation of being sort of not so much an everyman, but just, the Arrested Development college kid kind of thing, the fun guy. He's the fun, the accepting kind of. So that's kind of sad to see a little bit. By the way, we have a comment, live chat in the live chat. Andy Sparks says, "How do you call a late night show without? How do you call a late night show a late night show without the writers?" Yeah, I agree. It's that's where the improv comes in, and that's where the
but he's bang on right.
He's not wrong.
It's a podcast.
That really is.
Genius. You know what, Andy? I do believe, with your permission, I think he deserves maybe a bit of air horn. You good with that?
I'm good with it. Andy Sparks, you got the first air horn in the live chat comment section of Dragon Movie Guy. So,
well, then you deserve it. You deserve an air horn just for that.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. It really is a podcast if it's and honestly too, with where technology
Andy,
is.
You are DMG's DMG. Because it's Brian's always coming into Jim and Rob overanalyze movies with the zingers, and at times fire.
Yeah,
and this is up there with the best.
Yeah, I definitely need to get more of the special effects and the special features going. So,
it's just
we got the Cookie Monster laughing emoji. So yeah, I like that.
It.
Yes. So Andy and anyone else who would love to comment and see your comments on screen, comment in the comments section.
Smash that like.
Smash the like, and please subscribe to both of our channels too, because that is the best way to know whenever we're posting a brand new video or doing a live stream and having all this fun live from Las Vegas, live from Winnipeg, Canada.
Live from North America.
Yeah, live from New.
You know what we do? We need somebody from. We need a podcaster from Mexico. I really mean that. It'd be cool if all of North America basically in a long line. A longitudinal line. That would be fun.
Representing all of the North American domestic market for movie box office. So yes, thank you, Andy. And so do you think this is sort of is this raising money for the staffs? Is this disingenuous? Do you think they're actually going to raise enough money? Do you think they're actually going to raise enough money to help their staffs, or is this just sort of a way to save face and say, "Oh, look at we're helping our staffs"? And
I don't know. You know. That's another tough one, actually. Like even. These guys are incredibly wealthy. That said, I wouldn't be surprised if they're also kind of going, okay, well, these are the people we can keep going, or we can make sure they're okay. Like, I mean, they're, there's also, I've got it up now. I've contributed to it. I don't know if the Entertainment Community Fund, I wouldn't be surprised if all these big shots have contributed a lot. I think some of it is, you've alluded to it. It's like, first of all, just got to keep the name, the brand in the public's mind. Hey, we did a late night show, and after this is all over, we'd like to go back to that. There's also the fact that, notwithstanding Jimmy Fallon, or who knows, there may be terrible places to work, all of them. But there's still, I had a view on the other side of the strike line, and I remember an HR professional kind of going, we have to remember, we're all going to go back to work with these people. So if you think you're going to lose your temper, And so this can also be whether it's done for altruistic reasons or cynical reasons, part of the benefit of doing something like this is keeping the temperature down. Because these places especially, you're all going back with this, you're all going to go work with the same people.
And that's a good point, because you look at Jimmy Fallon. Yeah, he's not going to have a hard time making his mortgage or his rent payment anytime soon. And maybe this is just so that the writers' union, all of his writers in the writers' union, when all this is over with,
and also
can say, well, what did you do for us? Because you figure they're on any kind of a late night talk show, especially based in New York, those are really expensive to produce. And
Jimmy's in, isn't he in L.A.?
No, he's in LA. He moved it back to New York when he got the Tonight Show.
All right, but there's not a cheap place to produce either.
Well, either or. But that's one of those things where it takes 200 or 300 people to produce 1 hour of the Tonight Show. So you do that times 4 or 5, and so maybe John Oliver doesn't have a staff that big, but that's still 100. Pushing 1,000. That's a
lot of people. Yeah, it's a lot of people out of work, and a lot of people who will. I mean, especially, well, you know where I'm coming from.
Mm-hmm.
I really should be wearing a red sweater, but it just doesn't. I don't think it looks good on me. I don't wear red well. But Brian, as the math is coming out, and just the egregious, offensive amounts of money the very top of the industry earn. You know what? And if there's people losing their houses now, and there probably are some who are going, we got to make deeper cuts. We got to, there are people who are going to be suffering now, capital S. You as one of the big shots, sitting on gajillions, better be able to say, listen, I was doing something. It wasn't my fault. It wasn't my fault you lost your house. I did my part. But cynical or not, I think they got to do it.
Part of me even wonders.
Could you not? What are you going to say? I'm not doing any fundraising.
Well, part of me wonders if whether or not it's just something as simple as part of me wonders if it's just something as simple as next time that the Tonight Show with Jimmy Fallon does a cooking segment, that the stagehand comes up and goes, "Yeah, try that cookie batter. I dare you. I triple dog dare you to try that cookie batter." Nothing was done to it. No, of course. I was watching it the entire time. Try the cookie batter.
Looking up at one of the light fixtures and going, boy, sure hope that stays there.
Yeah.
Oh, well, you know what? I mean, it's probably it's probably a bit of cynicism, bit of honest and true feeling, bit of I don't want to cut a $10 million check like Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did. Here, we'll do a fundraiser. A bit of branding, let's not ascribe it to one particular motive. Including just an honest to God, let's do a fundraiser. We'll have fun, and we'll be able to, cut some extra checks on top of whatever else they're doing. We'll hear some stories. Unfortunately, we haven't heard any great stories like Letterman, who, as you see his history, it's like, holy crap, there was a solid employer, notwithstanding his more than once having affairs with his staff. But as far as how many people, when they talk about their stories on Letterman, and I got to do that, which gave me my SAG card, which is why I had health insurance, because otherwise, as an NBC employee, we're all considered part-timers, and NBC wasn't giving a shit. Pardon my poor language. so like Letterman's definitely the peak, the one who, because he had the control he did, he was able to sign a separate side deal saying, I'll give her whatever you want. I'm with you, like really with you. There is an anomaly of an employer, you know?
And definitely one who is missed from the late night landscape. And while I love Stephen Colbert, it is a different show than what Dave brought to late night. Especially in the early years. I think Letterman's ego got to him a little bit after his heart problems, and he didn't go down to 3 days a week like Johnny Carson did back in the day. And it was sort of interesting when Letterman had his health issues with his heart. That was the same age at which, and he came back. Initially, he was only doing 3 days a week and had a guest host 1 day a week, which is what Johnny Carson did. At the same exact age, without the heart issue, Letterman was sharp again. He was amazing again at 60 or 62. And then he eventually went back to 5 days a week, and it just wasn't quite the same. But anyway.
It could also be that he really was. It's like, it kills me in any of this stuff when we're especially about television, that are like, it's so long running. It's like, why? Is there a good reason? Does it have to be? Like,
yeah.
Couldn't we try something different? You know, a good movie has a beginning, a middle, and an end. A satisfying resolution where you're wanting more, but I saw what I saw. Like you want to stay in the moment of the end. I get that, but yeah. Well.
But that's it's also part of the everydayness of it. It's like for sports fans, it's sort of the difference between football and baseball, where football it's an event. It's once a week. It's a big thing. Baseball is 6 days a week. It is the mundane. It is the everyday nature of it. It's the football versus baseball George Carlin routine.
Daytime, everywhere.
Yeah, double headers. But it's the everyday, the unending everydayness of it that actually keeps it fresh in some ways.
Could you describe it as a lifestyle?
In some ways, yeah, I think so.
Lifestyle.
I think so, absolutely. By the way, Andy Spark is watching in Germany, so we're not just in North America right now. Live on the internet, live on YouTube. We have Andy Spark watching in. The
world is represented.
Yeah, from Germany. So,
Andy, whereabouts in Germany?
Where in Germany are you? Are you on Berlin? Or are you? I'm struggling to think of the map of Germany off the top of my head. Come on, Brian, name German cities.
Okay, Frankfurt,
Bonn, Berlin,
Darmstadt, right out of Frankfurt. Weiterstadt,
there we go.
Right out of Darmstadt, which is right out of Frankfurt. How can you tell I was there last fall? Munich.
Yeah.
Hamburg.
Oh. We actually have
Paderborn.
Yes, we actually have an answer. Paderborn. Interesting.
Which federated state? Now we're interviewing.
Through the comments section.
I came here to watch you.
Jerks. Anyway, so Paderborn, I'm not sure where that is in Germany, but thank you for checking in. So what that also raises the question of how people are viewing this around the world. So, what do you think, Rob? Is this something that people are looking at this going like, oh, spoiled Hollywood actors on strike? Yeah, like a Hollywood actor struggling with their Rolls Royce and with their Mercedes Benz.
That's an interesting thing. I think at least in North America, that is not the narrative. Like I think both the Writers Guild and the SAG-AFTRA have actually done a really good job of saying most of us aren't that. Actually, hardly any of us are that. And because of the environment around in North America right now, I'm thinking the social and political environment, the way people everywhere are seized of these of uh, resenting their large corporate employer, and also suffering under inflationary pressures. And I think they've actually been pretty good at saying, hey, most of us aren't. There's only a few of those folks. Those folks, like Dwayne The Rock Johnson, is a great example of, you know what? This is an investment in my future credibility. $10 million done. But you see some of those big ones stepping up with big checks to their fellow members. But all of a sudden that means that the focus is on all those thousands who are just getting by or are not getting by. And I think, so I think that's going on. I don't know about, you know what, a lot of Europe will probably feel the same way. They're a little more politically aware. You got higher rates of unionization, especially in Western Europe. You got higher rates of unionization. You've got just a more politically aware polity. But that said, I don't know, nor do I think it's
well, because part of the
like,
reason why
how important is it? Like in a way, it's not like a rail strike or a postal office strike or a trucking strike or something where everyone's going, I'm not getting my groceries because of this. Like the more recent work stoppage at UPS. You know what? Where all of a sudden you're like, hey, that's affecting the supply chain. Our day-to-day lives are being affected. I don't. So that generates public pressure, which generates pressure on politicians to force the issue. We don't have that kind of pressure in this environment. As you were saying before, Brian, like, no one's going to call up their congressional representative. I'm not calling my MP. Actually, I saw some of my local representatives hours ago, and I wasn't talking about, something has to be done. I'm not getting brand new television.
Well, and when we think,
someone think of me, the regular TV watcher? No one's saying that, because that sounds insane.
And look, when we think about unions are there to protect the workers. But when you think of workers that need union protection, to me, that's coal miners, that's teachers, that's, air traffic controllers, that's not baseball players or entertainers. That's generally not. Granted, those are businesses like anything else, but like, I think when we look at public support for, do we cross the picket line or do we not cross the picket line? There's a difference between, well, is the teacher being paid, or is the extra, is the guy who writes a Seinfeld episode getting paid? It's still a thing, but it's it's the hierarchy of importance of unions. I think it's a little bit different there.
I'm going to push back on two levels. Okay, I think keep this in mind. I think what I said before already, it's like whether the public likes it or not, the public's interest in this doesn't matter in a way, on a certain level, because even if they're with the actors or against the actors, with the writers or against the writers, they are not bugging their congressional representatives. They're not screaming at them on the picket line to get back to work as they get into fistfights to get into, anything. Like, there's just not that same relationship. But the other thing is, coming back to the, do entertainers need to be protected? I'm like, well, I'm paying attention in Me Too. Like, we are in the Me Too era where you go, oh my goodness, these people are rapacious. Sorry, I got to censor. Just they're like, they're just these predators like within the power structure in the entertainment industry. Yeah, those actors do need to be protected. as far as the writers go, everyone needs their paycheck protected. And I think and again, I'm coming back to that for they've been pretty effective. They haven't convinced everyone. I think Andy, may not feel this way. Saw one of his earlier comments as we were getting the show cranked up, but I think by and large, most people kind of get, wow, you used to be able to make a living, and now they want to make sure that you can't make a living, that you will be, not making a living, your job will be, reduced to next to nothing, so that, for the privilege of writing jokes for me, you can deliver for Lyft for the rest of your life. And I think I think that's something that can resonate with anyone going, I just want to make a living. Why do I have to have four jobs just to make a living? So I think they've been reasonably effective at that. And I do think, like, you know what? Unions are for more than just everyone. Any worker should be in a union, because they protect more than just, they protect your paycheck. They do protect working conditions. I mean, the writer has, I think, less physical risk, although again, like every year, it's just, we can't go a month without some other showrunner, some other creepy bastard going, oh, well, okay, yeah, I did. I totally made her life miserable because, well, I like but actors,
don't we all?
Uma Thurman, permanent back problems because
because the car accident with Tarantino on
Quentin Tarantino said, get in the car, we really need the shot, we need the shot, and there she is getting pressured and kind of going, I want to keep working.
And that wasn't a harassment thing. That was an actual filmmaking thing. So that wasn't like a harassment part.
Well, no, other than, your employer getting you to do something fucking dangerous
that you're not comfortable doing, dangerous, but we want to get the
shot. But you're like, I want to keep working, and I don't want to be like all these actors. It's like, don't be the troublemaker, especially women performers. You know what? They're the ones,
especially women over 40.
Ones. Oh yeah, like for her, it's like, I'm still getting a role that isn't a mom, and I'm still command somewhat of a paycheck. But as we learned from the Sony hack, like, criminal price differences for people where it's like, what? I thought she would be the draw, not him. How come he's getting paid 5 times more than she is? Like, all these things, I think, show just how, without a union establishing at least a bare minimum of standards, these will steal it all and try and convince you should be grateful that they didn't, that they haven't come to your house to take the rest of your stuff.
Yeah, true. Very true.
I might be a little extreme, but I don't know, actually. I can just see them. The thing is, these guys make Mr. Burns look good. Mr. Burns is I haven't stolen candy from a baby.
Smithers, release the hounds. By the way, the New York Times reporting in an article talking about Bill Maher also going back during the writer's strike as well. New York Times is the one that's reporting that if this doesn't get solved, the record was 153 days from the 1988 strike. That was the one where I remember in 1988, I was 12, 13 years old, a burgeoning dragon, if you will. And I remember watching news reports.
A dragonlet.
Yeah. I remember when...
pop fresh out of the egg.
Yes. And even then, when I was too young to stay up to 12:30 p.m., 12:30 a.m., rather, to watch Late Night with David Letterman, I still remember Letterman writers being on the picket line and when late night went back without them for a little bit during all of that. So I remember the 2008 strike, obviously, the 1988 strike. So it is sort of an interesting thing, the fact that we are in 2023 now reaching a point where the 153 days span. Now that was a fall into winter strike, but the fact that if this is October 3rd, we will now have surpassed the 153 day mark. Sorry, spit. Swallowing.
I was like, where are you going with this, man?
But it is interesting that the 153 day mark being October 3rd, that would be a new record for the strike. So, it's just all of this is kind of, it's interesting, and
they're big issues. Big issues, and the employers stated, like, crassly, we're gonna break them. We're gonna wait until they're like, how evil? And how evil do you have to be? Where it's like, I'm gonna make sure that these people are making a percent of what I have lose their homes. That's what I want. I want them to lose their homes so I can get everything on one side. And another side saying, if we don't stop them now, because the rule of thumb, at least when I was growing up, my old man, my father, trade unionist since, he was a young man himself, was like, here, the rule of thumb is 2 weeks. After 2 weeks, it doesn't matter what wage gain you get, you will never recover that money. Like, it's just, there's, and it's a rule of thumb. It's not like, it's pure math with a bunch of studies, but the rule of thumb is any strike over 2 weeks. And so the whole idea is like, because you can never guarantee, it'll just be a 2-week strike. You have to be sure that the issues are that important. And I think this is where both SAG-AFTRA and the Writers Guild, they're like, no, the issues are that important. We have been pushed. Our backs, they feel their backs are against the wall. And there's an employer saying, well, I don't know, we haven't taken your house yet. That would, and because they've gotten them ready for this, most of these folks, where they can, they've saved, or they've found other ways of making money. They are doing what they can. It's been a few years of labor activism within that industry. And I'm not just talking the writers, I'm talking the crew as well, because the crew almost went on strike, like, for the first time in forever. So I think that it really just shows, first of all, like a level of solidarity on the writer's side and the actor's side, where it's these big names aren't able to bully them around anymore. I don't know where some of these big showrunners that they're talking to, what they're thinking. It's like, listen, you've been part of the effort to make these tiny or non-existent little mini rooms. Why the hell would you think you would have pull anymore? You're actually one of the reasons they're mad.
Well, and it is.
It's like, hey, let's listen to Tyler Sheridan now. That's so.
It is interesting too, because one of the things that when I went on Fat Fish podcast, one of the interesting things that Fish was pointing out, because Fish is from Eric Snyder. Fish is from Los Angeles, so that is an industry. It is the entertainment industry.
It's a company town, and in many ways.
What's interesting about that, though, is he knows a ton of those actors that are on strike and the writers.
Yeah.
And what's interesting about that business is, yes, they are generally paid pretty well, but it's a lot of kind of feast and famine.
One day a week, you're going, wow, that's a great check.
Yeah.
If I could string 5 of these this week, I'd be doing well.
So a lot of these actors and writers are used to working, 14, 16 hours a day for short amounts of time for, doing a
burst.
for a burst. and then having to make that money last. So if they're doing 16 weeks in a writer's room for a show, that's great for 4 months, but you're not getting paid. That 4 months paycheck has to last you all 12 months of the year.
Yeah.
So the fact that this is already an industry where actors and writers and directors have to make hay while the sun is out and the rain is
yeah.
I'm mixing metaphors there.
Yeah, but you got to make hay while the sun shines.
Yes, yes, that's the saying. But that is the interesting thing is that these are people that are used to doing that for a living as a lifestyle, as a profession, and yet this strike has now gone on so long that I think even the people that are best at stretching a dollar, starting to feel it now. I think.
Oh yeah, they're hurting. Absolutely. It's why I've contributed to the Entertainment Community Fund myself, as I take a break from what has been a 3-month break from Disney Plus. I've contributed that money to, I figure, well, Disney's fine. Bob Iger, he's okay. He doesn't need that money. These guys need this money. Yeah, it is. It's these people are hurting. And they're people who, are they're like us. It's like, how do you go that long without a paycheck? You scrimp, you save, you stretch, you get, how many junior writers? Yeah, how many junior writers? They're all like, no, I'm doing my Uber, I'm doing my Lyft, I'm doing DoorDash, I am doing what I need to do to get by.
Interesting note, by the way, Andy Spark is saying October 3 in Germany is a holiday called the Reunification.
Oh, really? East and West Germany, the fall of the wall and all
that.
Yeah,
I wasn't aware. I remember when the Berlin Wall fell and for whatever reason, after 50 years, the Berlin Wall is standing there, and then for whatever reason, David Hasselhoff with a giant glowing lit up jacket that says freedom standing on the Berlin Wall. I had no idea though that was October 3rd.
I don't think it happened on that day. I think it's like the
actual reunification,
the formal. I don't know. Well, actually, Andy can correct us on that.
Yeah, Andy, let us know in the chat section there. Is it the official reunification date from what? Because Berlin Wall fell in '89. The reunification was like '91-ish, '92. Let us know in the chat there what the actual October 3rd date represents. Fascinating though. There's different holidays and different dates of significance. Hollywood marking October 3rd as a date of separation between labor and labor and management, and yet in Germany, October 3rd is a date of reunification. I love the poetic nature of that. That sort of that full circle.
It's also the date of our. Pretty sure. Let me double check that. Come on. Oh my goodness. Heaven forbid they put a date on it. Yeah, don't.
Well, look.
Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. That is effing terrible. It's like. Anyway, I believe for the province here, the analogous to a state, it's our election date.
And Andy answers the question. Yes, the official date, October 3rd. The wall thing was earlier. So fascinating. Fascinating how all of these dates sort of, it all kind of comes together. It's a big circle. It's a circle, man. It all comes together. So that is really cool. Thanks for pointing that out, Andy.
So October 3rd. Google, I'm going to say it here. Google officially sucks now. Like, you cannot get it, even a year ago, you can't get the answers immediately that you used to be able to get.
Yeah,
You know, it's their bias towards giving it to an advertiser who just says, "Well, I want all these things." You know, we've seen it where you're like, I've got sometimes in the search engine optimization for our own stuff where it's like, y- Hindi language, and it's like, why would I do that? There's what? I don't have a Hindi language version of this. Why are you suggesting it?
yeah.
You
Well,
know,
it's look, that's a
well, it's suggesting it because it works. It's just not good. It's not good for our viewers. The random, but I'm just telling you, it blows my mind that it took me like 3 searches to find out to confirm a date. That's
yeah.
somewhat important.
But
Anyway,
look, it's
yes, October 3rd, if the strike's still on, that's also when that's polling day for the Manitoba provincial election. So there's a bit more weird
ah,
coincidence stuff for you.
nice. I love it. The Manitoba provincial election. So is that the equivalent of the November elections here in the States?
No, it would be because it's not federal, it's provincial. So,
Oh,
like
so
whenever
province
you're,
level, like state level.
yeah, state level, yeah,
Gotcha.
it's and because although we do have an election date law now in Manitoba. I've had it, I don't know, it's over 10 years. It has been moved for the lamest reasons, the lamest political reasons. Um, and because we're in a parliamentary system, like the federal government must hold an election no later than 5 years after the last one. That's rock solid. But
Interesting.
they can call it any time between those two, or an election can be forced if there's a motion of non-confidence that
Oh,
passes in the Commons, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I guess we're it's election time. You
yeah.
know,
I was
the
reading.
government falls.
I think Ukraine had a similar system. I was amongst with all the different things. I was reading an article on the Ukraine and
Yeah.
their government. Anyhow, um,
Anywho, we're going way off the
yeah,
topic of
we're
the
going off the
strike.
rails here a little bit,
People
but
are, this portion may be edited for your
yeah.
viewing pleasure.
Well, we've had some great interaction with
Yeah.
Andy Spark, over in Germany in
And I've had a wonderful time.
Paderborn. So thank you, Rob. With all of that, thank you, Rob, for coming on, Dragon Movie Guy. What can people expect on Jim and Rob over Analyze Movies coming up here in the next week or two?
We're going to bring up 2 things. One, of course, next week, Monday night, which is kind of our new night for Jim and Rob over Analyze Movies, we're going to be doing a deep dive on Dumb Money. That'd be next Monday. This Monday, it's The Covenant. Guy Ritchie's The Covenant. So if whether you've seen it or not, you want all the spoiler rich goodness that comes with a deep dive, come on by. The other thing is something you and I have talked about offline when we've had our post show chats and our pre show chats. I am going to be bringing a new, let's say, show to my channel. I've always kind of thought of the channel as having a certain identity, and Jim and Rob overanalyze movies as a part of that larger identity. But I'm going to start it in a whole new show called It's Never Just a Movie, where you talking more, instead of about a specific film, talking about, the business, the practical, the politics, the economics of film and television and maybe a bit more of the pop culture, kind of, because that has always been my feeling. It's never just a movie. We're participating when we watch this art, and it is art. Something else is going on there. It's not just, oh, I killed an hour. Even if that's how it sometimes felt, or that hour felt like two, and not in a good way, something else is going on there, and that's worthy of discussion. So that's hopefully in the next couple of weeks that'll be coming out.
Love it, love it, love it.
Like and subscribe.
Love it, love it, love it. Yes, please like and subscribe. And for Andy, Andy Spark, thank you for coming into our into the live chat
Yes,
today.
Andy.
And for anyone who wants
that zinger.
Yeah. And for anyone who wants to join us on Dragon Movie Guy, this is now going to be a regular part of the live stream experience. And, of course, anyone watching on replay, leave a comment in the comment section as well. And be sure to like and subscribe and do all that kind of good stuff. It always helps out with the algorithm, and lets YouTube know that you like us. That you like us. You like us. Thank you for liking us.
So, they really like us.
Yes. As we do our
there's a deep Oscars cut.
Yeah.
Well, maybe not that deep.
Yeah. So
Brian, thanks again for having me on, man. I really appreciate it. I always have fun hanging out with you on your show.
Absolutely, thank you. And especially, I think this is our first Saturday live stream. So, Rob, thank you for coming on. Andy Spark, everyone who's watching, thank you for watching this special episode of Movie News You Can Use on the Dragon Movie Guy podcast. And with that, we will say thank you, and we will see you next time. See you, everybody.
Bye.